Today we're getting under the hood of periods with Muji, a digital health innovator and founder of FEMME Health. What kind of periods do you usually get? Light, heavy, regular, unpredictable?
Periods are usually light and predictable, but while I was younger, it was a bit rough and all over the place. But I started finding my rhythm and everything is beginning to balance out.
At what age did you get your period, and what kind of periods do you usually get?
I started having my periods when I was about 13, and they used to be really light and quite irregular. I used to panic. I used to even cry because I was scared and I didn't know a lot about it. But as I grew older, I began to find my rhythm and everything began to balance out. So right now, my periods are predictable and quite regular.
How does PMS or your period usually make you feel physically and emotionally?
It's been a roller coaster. I mean, started having my periods at 13. And initially, for years, I had no pain, no cramps, nothing. I wouldn't even know I was on my period, till I'll just bleed and move on. But as I grew older, life happened, my body started changing, and then it became a nightmare. I'd have excruciating pains, bloating, cramps, and of course, it took an emotional toll on me. I'll battle mood swings, being irritable, hypersensitive, and I'll just flare up most of the times. I had no idea what was going on, but it sparked an interest, and I started learning about it. I found out that it's not just me. Women around the world are struggling with these similar issues. And so it sparked my interest in women's health generally.
How do you usually manage cramps or discomfort? Have you found anything that really works for you?
Yeah, so far I have learned a lot about my body and I'm beginning to find, I mean, it's a continuous process. You never stop finding what works for you. So for now, what I have learned is that sugar is one of my biggest enemies. So cutting out sugar has drastically reduced my cramps. And since I stopped taking sugary stuff, all the sodas, I feel much better. And I've learned to move my body more often and of course know when to stop and be kind to myself because before I'll just force myself to push through the pain, trying to be superwoman, but then I know when to stop, and when to let myself rest and accept that yeah, it's part of my life.
Do your moods shift a lot before, during your period? And how do you handle it with work, with family, and relationships?
Yeah, I mean, the emotional aspect has been one of the most difficult aspects for me in my PMS journey generally. Like I said, I'll have anxiety, mood swings, being extra sensitive and really irritable. And I used to gaslight myself a lot. Why am I like this? Am I a toxic person? Why am I acting crazy and all of that? But then as I kept on learning, I found that I'm just hormonal and I'm not crazy, right? We are not crazy. So I started to accept and acknowledge it. So now I am more aware and conscious that during this time of the month, I feel this way, and that's okay. My mood is not right there, but that's okay. And I'm also more vocal about it. I don't just try to handle it on my own. So I'm okay with telling my team, telling my friends that this is how I feel, right? It's that time of the month. So I need space. I may not be at my best. I may not be the happiest, the most cheerful. So they understand that. And now I don't longer blame myself and I'm beginning to feel more comfortable with it. Yeah.
Have your periods or symptoms changed as you've gotten older?
Yes, my symptoms have changed drastically. Um, as a younger teenager, I did not have any symptoms, and I used to think it was just people being overreacting or being dramatic. But as I grew older, I started experiencing all of these things, the mood swings, the period diarrhea, the absolute worst, the cramps and everything. And I started being kind to others. I started being kind to others. Even as a leader, I understand when a fellow woman is in that time of the month and she can't show up as she would have. So it helped me to to show more empathy to other women because I know what they are going through, definitely.
Do you track your cycle? And has that helped you understand your body better?
Yeah, I actually used to track my cycle when I was younger because I was really curious. There was little to no information about all of these things. especially in my part of the world, right? We didn't have any education, like formal education concerning menstrual cycles and all of that, not in school, not anywhere. It's more of a taboo, something to be ashamed of and hide, right? So I had to learn for myself. And I found out some apps that will help me track my cycle. And it was really confusing for me. Most of them felt so clinical and uncomplicated, and I was just wondering, why do I have to keep tracking how I feel? What next? How do I just wanted to be free from the feeling. So I stopped, honestly. I stopped tracking my cycle. And recently I've started getting back to that place and being able to just find my rhythm because that's helped me a lot.
Are there foods, drinks, or routines that make your PMS or period symptoms better or worse?
Yeah. So for worse, definitely sugar. And I'm now the biggest less sugar advocate because it has helped me a lot. Cutting out on sugary foods and drinks and sodas have helped my periods to be much calmer. I could go a whole cycle without feeling any pain. So I'm super happy. And I hope I never go back to that. I'm getting much more disciplined, taking warm liquids. And I think peppery food has really helped me a lot. So we have local dishes in Nigeria, peppery soups. Yeah, they help me stay sane.
Do you ever feel embarrassed, judged, or dismissed about your symptoms? And how do you cope?
Oh, not anymore. I think I've outgrown that. Most of my biggest period struggles were during my teenage years where I did not know enough. So of course I got embarrassed. It's more like a taboo here in Africa. And I remember when I started menstruating, I knew very little about anything. So I'll get stained in school. I'll get stained when I go out, and I'll almost wish I could disappear. And trying to find things to cover myself and find the nearest bathroom. It was crazy. It even felt wrong to be seen moving around with a tampon or a sanitary pad, right? So as I grew up, I started finding out that this is normal. I mean, every woman menstruates. You exist because your mom menstruates. So why are you making others feel bad or feel ashamed of it? So yes, that's really helped me just being conscious of these facts. And now I talk about it. I'm not afraid to bring out my sanitary pad in public because it's normal. So yeah, I mean, I speak about it. I talk to even male counterparts about it, and I feel seen and I feel supported because most people don't support us because they don't know how we feel about these kind of things. Because I talk about it, I'll be able to get the support that I need.
What's some advice or wisdom you'd share with another woman about her period?
Oh, I mean, I wish I had someone to tell me earlier that everything you're feeling is real. You're not overreacting, and you are definitely not crazy. All the mood swings and everything, all the pains that you cannot explain. You're not making it up. I know that you're not making it up. And yeah, it's real. So just make peace with that, believe it and accept it, and try to understand your body because how you feel is not how I feel, how another woman feels. So accept your cycle and advocate for yourself, right? They expect us to be silent about it, but please speak up at work, among your friends, with your family. Tell them how you feel and own up to it, right? And of course, find tools. You can't do it on your own. So find supportive communities, learn about it. If you're bored with the medical jargon, watch short videos on YouTube and social media, and just know what you can try in your context. Because most times we are looking at everything through a Western lens. So you're trying to stay healthy based on what they do in the other parts of the world. So don't be scared to think of where you're from and look at it culturally. You may not have access to all the things they have access to in other parts of the world, but there are definitely local foods you can try. There are local routines that can suit your life, that can suit your schedule, that can suit your mood and your energy, and that can suit where you're from. So lean more into that and advocate for yourself. You'll definitely find something that helps, no matter how small. Just be consistent and be comfortable in your body because it's a lifelong journey. It never ends. So the sooner you accept it and get comfortable and advocate for yourself, the better for all of us.
Have you ever had to advocate for yourself with a doctor about your period or PMS symptoms? And what was that
Yeah,
like?
it was, I think that was my turning point in my PMS journey because the first time I found the courage, to open up about my PMS, my periods, something that for a long time I felt ashamed of or felt like a taboo. I was told by the doctor to just get pregnant so I can escape the pain. And he chuckled, so I was stunned. And I don't think I can ever forget that day because it taught me that nobody's coming to save us really. We as women, we just have to save ourselves. We are constantly ignored, dismissed, and overlooked. Our symptoms are just thrown out the corner like it's a woman's thing, right? So since that day, I became more persistent in advocating for myself. And now I want answers, right? I'm always asking questions and always creating good trouble with my doctors. And it has helped me to be able to, empower other women to ask questions because we do not deserve that kind of gaslighting at all.